Good morning, viewers at home. Welcome to the program SuperDawn. I am Vera, also with you on this edition of the program. Well, it's a beautiful morning, and I am supposed to be sad, but I refuse to be sad. If you saw what happened to Chelsea yesterday, 3 was just too much. But that was a fantastic outing anyway. It was a fantastic match yesterday. But I'm not happy because loads of, I don't know what happened to our keeper yesterday. And the idea of always opening his legs for goals to set in. It is becoming unbecoming. And the problem really yesterday was the defensive, it was a defensive problem yesterday, where you allow Messi to attack from the tightest corner all the time and scored after 3 minutes. I didn't like the fact that they'd allowed all of this, but many things happened. For me, I think they need to be more professional. I'm talking about because these guys are new. If we had had those days of Drogba, we wouldn't be having what we had yesterday. Drogba was a man that knows how to maneuver his ways. But yesterday we saw like amateur people that needed more coaching, more training. We saw all of those things yesterday. Yesterday's match was just all through mistakes, all through mistakes. If they had had older players, I don't think it will have happened that way. But all the same, it was a fantastic one yesterday. It wasn't that Chelsea didn't do well. All indications show that we were supposed to win that game, but it didn't happen. But all the same, congratulations to Man U fans. I said yesterday I was going to put on blue, but I can't put on blue because we did not just win. So I decided to wear a different color and a different look and look differently from what you saw yesterday. But all the same, it was a fantastic outing. Yes, away from that, we have what we're going to discuss. I just brought that to you because I know loads of you will be interested in football. And I said on the program before we parted yesterday that, hey, we'll come and analyze the match. And that's what I'm trying to do this morning. And this morning, we'll look through the papers and get the stories out for you to make your call and contributions. And when we're done with the newspaper review, we want to look at the sequence of the election. The president, we'll give you an update really of what the president said concerning it. He didn't assent to that. And this is generating a lot of controversy right now as we speak. And so we will look at it. Was he right about it? He gave 3 reasons. And one of it, the National Assembly are saying no. Okay, it's fine. If you look at the Constitution, 138 of the Constitution, what it says, okay, it's fine. But again, they also have their right in the Constitution. So we're going to be looking at it. President not accepting, and the House of the National Assembly saying they are going to resubmit it again. And the court is saying everything should just calm down until the final date. But we're going to look at all of that this morning with you and with your contributions. And we'll open the phone lines for you to call and make your contributions. We'll go on this break now, and when we come back, SuperDawn newspaper review will continue. Let's go on a break.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed. Now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. It's the newspaper review segment, and we'll start with the Nation newspaper this morning, and this says Ekiti landlords shut down BEDC over crazy bills. It's the kind of news I like to hear. When you give people crazy bill, you be ready to get actions, to get reactions from people. When you give people bills that are accumulated crazy, estimated billings, people will be ready also to face you. Commercial activities at Ado-Ekiti Business Office of Bini Electricity Distribution Company were paralyzed for about 2 hours yesterday as the electricity consumer protested what they call the company's crazy bills. Acting under the guise of the Ado-Ekiti Landlords and Ladies Electricity Consumers Association of Nigeria, the protesters took over Ado-Ikire Road, accusing the distribution company of ripping them off. When you give people unestimated billings, when you give them crazy bills, this is what you get. Not even in a country like this right now, where a lot of people are trying to get their feet, a lot of people are trying to just eat, and you are giving them unestimated billings. People will go haywire. And that's what's in the paper this morning. We also have here, Nigeria's public debt hits 21.73 trillion, says DMO boss. Nigeria's total public debt stock is 21.725 trillion at the end of December last year. Debt Management Office Director General Patient Oniha, speaking yesterday in Abuja on the country's debt management strategic, said the federal government's domestic debt at the end of 2017 was 12.589 trillion. The 36 states and federal capital territory have a domestic debt overhang of 3.348 billion. So the combined external debt of the federal government and the state is about 5.787 trillion. You need to get hold of the Nation this morning to read more. We also have in the stories, Buhari will bring back Chibok girls safely. And the writer says, parents, students in tears as president visit troubled town. It was tearful scene yesterday in Dapchik, the Yobe State community, where the Boko Haram snatched away 110 girls on February 19th. The President, Muhammad Buhari, visited Government Girls Science and Technology College, where the girls were abducted. Some of these distracted parents and the girls' schoolmates broke down in tears when the chairman of the parents, Bacha Alaji Muzo, spoke on the incident. But I need to read this. Someone says here, we want him to redouble effort to save our children from these wicked people. My daughter was kidnapped. My daughter that was kidnapped was not about to work for 7 years. We brought her to school after she was cured, and now they have kidnapped her. There are issues here and there about the kidnap of this girl. Some, right now, maybe they have health issues, and they are on there, they've been kidnapped, and only God knows if they will be treated. Lots of things are just coming into parents' mind right now. My kids alive? Have they been defiled? All of these things will be coming up, on someone's mind, and the president should just do something. Election sequence. Court stops Senate. Evans' confession video showed in court. Evans' confession video showed in court. Russia 2018, no special plan to stop Messi. I wanted to say something. Messi's fault hat-trick yesterday. I wanted to say, this Messi of a man. Anyway, he's a good player. Well, we'll go away from the nations, and we want to take a look at the Vanguard this morning. And it says, Buhari, Jonathan at war over Dapchik schoolgirls. There are lots of writers here. Unlike Jonathan, I acted fast, Buhari. And this says, I won't rest until Dapchi schoolgirls are rescued. Other security agencies to brief him on 24 hours basis. And this also, I'm reading the writers, this also says from Jonathan, Buhari's claim on how I handled Chibok fake. President Muhammadu Buhari yesterday in Yobe State said his administration's prompt response to the abduction of 110 students of the Government Girls Technical College, Dapchi, was a clear departure from what he described as the insensitivity of the past administration. Nigeria ranked 91 on UN Global Happiness Index. Oh my goodness, even in all of this, trust Nigerians, they will still be happy, even in all of it. Nigeria ranked 91 out of 156 countries in Annual Sustainable Development Solution Network, that's the SDSN, 2018 World Happiness Report released by the United Nations yesterday. The report ranked at 156 countries according to the factors such as GDP per capita, social support, health, life expectancy, social freedom, generosity, and absence of corruption. We were 91, very poor, very close to the 156, very close. But I know something you can take away from Nigeria. Maybe this year is different. They are happy people. They are happy people. In spite of everything happening, you see a Nigerian person still dancing, still want to do one or two things. Okay, 2019 election sequence. Court stops NAS from overriding Buhari. Well, that's the topic, fortunately, we're treating today, but it's in the papers. In Abuja, division of the Federal High Court yesterday restrained the National Assembly for taking any further action on the Electoral Act amended Bill 2018, which President Muhammadu Buhari declined to assent to, pending the determination of a suit filed before it by a court party. It has to be after the court party. Plaintiffs, Senate can commence process to override President. According to a plaintiff counsel, my lord, the Senate can commence process to override the president almost immediate by securing two-thirds majority. From a defendant, this says, why application should not be granted. Meanwhile, counsel to the first defendant, Ms. Ugozu, insisted that such order should not be granted on the basis of an oral application. We also have here, Senate gives committee 1 week to screen 4 MPC members and CBN deputy governors. Okay, you can also get that. We won't allow alliance contest of votes, says immigration boss. We'll move away from the Vanguard and we'll take a look at the Daily Trust this morning. And it says here, election sequence latest. Reps fault Buhari vows to resubmit bills. And the writer says, court halts further action on progress. After a presidential veto, the House of Representatives has resolved to rework the bill on reordering of the elections and represent it to President Muhammadu Buhari for assent. The president withheld assent to the amendment passed by the National Assembly last month, which, amongst others, changed the sequence of the election in the country. The legislators made their own election to come first, and the governorship and State House of Assembly second, and made the presidential election come last. We are going to see how this will turn out to be, but I keep saying when this started last month that it doesn't matter who comes first, or who comes second, or even last. What we want to see is competency. We want to see that individual that can turn things around for good. We want to see that party that can truly and sincerely create peace and harmony. That's what I want to see. We don't want to see who, what. But if they say the Constitution doesn't permit it, well, we have to follow the law. 400 million. May 2 files fresh application for overseas treatment. And here we have Amsgate. Judge withdraws from EFCC case against Ashinzi and orders. Nigerian bid for Continental Free Trade Headquarters. We still have some stories in the Daily Trust. 8 injured in Obaseki's convoy auto crash. 8 people yesterday evening sustained injury in an accident involving 3 vehicles in the convoy of the Edo State Governor, Godwin Obaseki. It was gathered that Obaseki's convoy was on its way from an event organized by Okumu Oil Palm Company, PLC, when the incident happened in front of the University of Benin Teaching Hospital on the Benin-Lagos Expressway. Police tell Kaduna hunters to surrender AK-47. The Kaduna State Commissioner of Police, Austin Uwa, has told hunters and others in possession of illegal weapons to surrender them to avoid persecution. He said hunters' patriotism and effort towards ensuring security in their local committees were welcome, but they could not do by bringing AK-47 and other illegal arms. And hey, hunters, you can hunt, but you must submit your AK-47. You must surrender it. Maybe they want to register it, I don't know. But they are saying they don't want you to be with AK-47. This is not a good news, but I'll take this story. It says, no money to fix refineries, federal government. The federal government said it has no money to fix the nation's refineries. The Minister of State for Petroleum and Resources, Ibe Kachuku, disclosed this yesterday while briefing State House of Correspondents after the cabinet meeting presided by the Vice President, Yemi Osibajo. The minister said he had given all the guidance required to fix the refineries. He said government had to raise money through a public-private partnership model. As a seasoned professional, I have given all guidelines that is required to fix the refineries. We came into a situation where we don't have money to fix the refineries. We had to raise the money. Looking into PPP model, it has to go through a process. Government has no money to fix refineries. So what will happen? In my area, electricity is something that, and that's why I reside where I reside. But these days, the Minister for Power has told us that we will be having issues with power. Right now, Ibe Kachuku is saying no money to fix refineries. Federal government doesn't have money to fix refineries, so they're going to look at the model, partnership, private partnership model to see if monies can come through that end. But it's a process. Doesn't mean we're going to be waiting. Doesn't mean that we might likely be seeing fuel queue on the road. Does this mean that, hey, we're going to continue this way? Is it not important for us to fix that money, fix the refineries? Many questions. Who is going to answer me? Federal government. Okay. We have this from IMN. It says, federal government waiting for Zanzaki and wife to die in detention. The Academic Forum of the Islamic Movement in Nigeria has accused the federal government of holding its leader, Ibrahim Zanzaki, and his wife, Zena, in detention till death. In the statement signed by its spokesperson, S.I. Ahmed, at the end of a protest march in Abuja yesterday, the sect expressed concern about the failing health of Zanzaki and his wife. And they are saying it is intentional that they are putting them in detention. Man who hacked 2 people to death in Ogun State. This one is from the GT Bank, and it says GT Bank declares 200.2 billion profit in 2017. That's big. It's huge. They should teach some people on how to do business. Okay? We'll take this other story, and this one, it's a digest. Kaduna Golf Club hosts first pro in a decade. Well, get hold of the Daily Trust, and you can read more on that story. Finally, for this segment, we have the Punch this morning. Schoolgirls adoption. My response better than Jonathan, says Buhari. The president handled adoption poorly, PPOG. And we also have, I think, maybe I should read that story. The schoolgirls abduction. My response better than Jonathan, says Buhari. President Muhammad Buhari on Wednesday said his administration's response to the February 19 abduction of the 110 pupils of Government Girls Science and Technology College, Dapchi, Yobe State, was better than the response of the last administration to a similar abduction in Chibok, Borno State. He said, while the federal government under his watch swung into action immediately after the abduction, the last administration looked the other way when schoolgirls were abducted in Chibok in 2014. Well, PDP has this to say to that story, and it says, PDP tells Buhari, stop stories, give us our girls. However, the People's Democratic Party advised Buhari to stop telling Nigerian stories, but deliver the girls to their parents. The national chairman of the PDP, Uche Secondus, who spoke to one of the Punch correspondents, said it was a pity that Buhari was still talking about reaction when Nigerians and the parents of the adopted girls had been weeping. Well, BBOG also has this to say. Buhari handled abduction poorly. The spokesperson of the Bring Back Our Girls, Siga Akume, said the president was complacent. Akume said Buhari was less competent than Jonathan because he allowed the girls to be adopted despite having the benefit of hindsight. We think President Buhari has handled this matter very poorly. We are not happy. About 4 years after the Chibok girls abduction happened, Dapchi abduction happened again. All the mistakes that were made by Jonathan were repeated, which means the Buhari government did not learn anything. Okay? Metu, my legs have lost sensation. I need treatment abroad. Yes, there's a caller. Hello, good morning to you.
Yes, yeah, good morning.
Good morning to you.
Yeah.
I can't hear you.
I said all you read on the newspaper this morning, and to me, when I summary that you don't know where we are going. I'm afraid if the president today and compare himself with the past, people are going to be he's not going to call himself.
Maybe you need to increase the decibel of your voice. Maybe you need to speak up.
People are watching him.
Okay, go ahead.
And then they will score him. He's not the one to score himself. There should be no comparison at this time around. All we want is what they do Nigeria. And I remember during President Obasanjo, people went to him to ask him for authority to be ushered into the constitution. He refused them that Nigeria is there's nothing like a born to rule. He granted them only Sharia. Many of them stood on their feet to fight and challenge government to the end of their life. And this is what we are doing. My advice to our president is that if he leaves today, there may be no Nigeria again. If he cannot stop Bukara, if he cannot stop herdsmen, please, he should help us. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for calling. We have this story I'll take for a round of this segment, and it says here, Lagon declares curfew as herdsmen kill 2 soldiers and 2 cars. This story of these herdsmen again, it's something we all need to look into right now. The killings are still on, and I don't know, but let me read it. 2 soldiers, 2 mobile policemen, and about 23 others were on Wednesday killed by suspected Fulani herdsmen during a battle at Dong Kasa Rafiki and Duse Kura community in Bassa local government area of Plateau State. 2 civilians were killed with houses grazed and cars burnt during an attack. Again and again, the masquerading Fulani terrorists still again killed 2 soldiers and 2 mobile police officers. The death toll is now 2 mopols and 2 soldiers and 2 civilians, making it 7, an eyewitness stated. I just hope this will just come to an end. This is not, it's not a good one where you think by now these people will have just packed their bags and baggages out of communities, but they are proving tough. Does it send a signal that our military men are weak? Are they afraid to face these people? Because I know that the military people have never been weak people before. But what is happening here, where the Fulani headsmen are taking over communities? I think we need an urgent solution, very urgent one, when we talk about the Fulani headsmen. Can they take action and just clear them off? I don't know. Really, it's not a good one. We also have here budget padding. Jubril resumes, shakes hands with Dogora. The former chairman of the House of Representatives Committee on Appropriation, Mr. Abdul Mumuni Jubril, formally resumed work on Wednesday, a day after the House lifted its suspension. The Speaker, Mr. Yakubu Dogora, had announced the lifting of the suspension on Tuesday after Jubril apologized to the House. Drama. Okay, we have this one. Reps to override Buhari on Peace Corps Bill 9 orders. The House of Representatives has said it will override President Muhammadu Buhari's veto on the Peace Corps bill he had earlier rejected. The implication of this is that the lawmakers will pass the bill into law without Buhari consent if the upper chamber of the National Assembly tread the same path with the House. In this kind of situation, this is where I need a legal practitioner to come and school us on of this. If the president refused to assent, can the House of Representatives and the National Assembly assent that? Can they just pass the bill? Will it work? Will that really work? Okay, we have this one. Court orders National Assembly to stop poll reordering bill. We've taken that before. Journalists, others injured in a Basakate convoy accident. Oh, God help journalists. God help us. Reportage. God help us. We're always at the forefront, wanting to bring news, wanting to bring information. And lots of things happen when you want to do that. Britain to expel 23 Russian diplomats over attack on ex-spy. You can get that one in the Punch this morning. And finally, let's take this other story in the Punch. I think I need to get 2 more stories. Power distributors keep mute over new meter regulation. The electricity distribution companies have refused to comment on the new regulation from the Nigerian Electricity Regulatory Commission, which is aimed at developing independent and competitive meter services in the power sector. According to the Meter Asset Provider Regulation 2018, a copy of which was obtained by the Punch correspondent on Wednesday, the new arrangement is also aimed at eliminating the estimated billing practice and attracting private investment into the provision of metering services and closing the metering gap through accelerated meters roll out in Nigerian electricity supply industry. Anything to do with electricity, I am interested. I want to know what I'm consuming. And that's why I believe in this meter thing. I tell you, if you're using an AC, for example, or your bulb, all you need to do is just switch it off if you're going out. But these unestimated billings where people don't have meters, and these guys comes with their whatever and tell you this is what you consume. How do you measure that when there is no meters? How do you measure that? When there's no prepaid, I prefer the prepaid meter, really. It's what you consume, you pay. You just do the arithmetic yourself. But if you don't have a prepaid meter, a bill that is supposed to be for 3,000 naira, people get 20,000 naira for that. So I think we all need to insist and get your prepaid meter, and so it will help everybody. Well, I take this last one. It's a question, and you can get hold of the punch to get this story. What do we do with Sonny Revolution? What do we do with Sonny's revelation? Remember Sonny, the senator that is also giving us insight over what is happening in the House, always telling us what they do. He brought the latest one was their salaries. And wow, I said, oh my God. He exposed that one. We've been wanting to know since. And I said to myself, does it mean in a month people will go home? What are they doing that I'm not doing? Anyway, that's where we end this segment. We'll go on this break now. And when we come back, we want to look at the controversy that is generating right now. That's the sequence of election. Let's go on a break. We'll be right back.
They come, they're supposed to, give us some information, notice, at least maybe a week or so. There was nothing like that.
Hunger is everywhere in Nigeria. People are dying every day, but Nigeria government are keeping quiet. Housemen are killing people. Why?
It's not what we expected because of these old men
that are leading us, and you people know, you are aware that these people are not the right people to lead us. These kind of people that are leading us here are people of black mind. They just care about themselves and their family.
You are affecting my village. Let me use if I call it useless, I'm not a mistake. The other place where they build a shop, call it Plaza. Say each shop there 4 million naira, which I don't have the money, so I have to leave.
If you plan to get a tribal mark, it takes a lot of pain, but after some time, you enjoy it. No, we experience hold up now during the construction time. Then after some time, we start enjoying it.
The way they are doing the construction is too slow. It's too slow. The construction is too slow. They should stop the construction and make sure people go into their businesses and do their businesses.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Controversy over the sequence of election right now is the burning issues all over since INEC as the National Electoral Commission released the timetable for election 2019, and these have generated a lot of issues. Some people have said, hey, why are we killing ourselves over election? But the National Assembly feels we have to meet, and they met to change the sequence of election. Getting it on the president's table, the president rejected that assent. He refused to sign a bill, and that bill was rejected. And so today we want to look at it. One, did he look at it very well? Because remember, he gave 3 reasons for declining the bill, and one of those reasons, the National Assembly said, okay, they believe that he was right about the section 138 of the Nigerian Constitution, but one, they says no, they are going to resend the bill to him again. So this is on, but we have a guest in the studios this morning that will be giving us his own idea concerning what is happening. We have Professor Simon now. He's a consultant and researcher, a lecturer from the Odegbe University, that's the North American University, Republic of Benin. Good morning to you this morning, Professor.
Good morning.
Good morning to you, Professor.
Good morning.
Signing, sequence of election or no sequence of election, what are your thoughts?
Well, I laugh because I don't know why the president withdrew his assents. I think this sequence of elections started in, if my memory serves me right, 1983 with the Shagari regime. And there was a bandwagon effect. I remember vividly because I wasn't a kid then, I was a presiding officer in 1983. I remember vividly that the APN then wanted to take everywhere, including the old Imo and old Anambra. I remember old Anambra was taken by Sisiono, MPN, and that election was won by Wobodo, Jim Wobodo. In the old Imo states, a similar thing almost happened. Arbiko Kafo, late Arbiko Kafo, now went into the FEDECO office, it was FEDECO then, not INEC, and carried the ballot box and ran away to IBC, Imo Broadcasting Corporation, where the late Sam Mbakwe announced the result himself. And the following day, apologized to the nation that he took laws into his hands, but it was because of the circumstances on the ground that led to that. Now again, in the last election, 2015, we equally saw the bandwagon effect that followed that election. I think in the wisdom of the National Assembly, they now said, we don't want this bandwagon effect. Let's have, contrary to what the president said, that is going to disenfranchise Nigerians, I think rather is going to make Nigerians make the right choice. Because once the presidential election is over, then the federal might will be used to intimidate and harass the rest of the states to submission. And people will begin to, go on with this rumor that, look, you have to align with the federal might. And that will actually, that's a form of rigging, if you ask me. So I would prefer that the presidential election come last. However, what I don't like is making it a 3-day thing. It could still be adjusted to a 2-day thing. Maybe all the legislative elections, both the federal and the state legislature, come the same day, and then the governorship and the presidential come the same day. That's the only way I think this thing could be done and be done properly. But for the well, if I may follow the theory of some people, maybe some people are afraid that if this election is not, the presidential election does not come first, they are not going to get there. And that's conspiracy theory now.
Nigerians begin to bother themselves about who comes first or the timing. Should we bother ourselves, or we should rather focus on something?
I mean, don't we have our own candidates?
Nigerians should not bother themselves, but politicians are Nigerians too. And these politicians are the people bothering us and causing the frenzy here and there. So, and once the politicians at times begin to talk, they hit up the polity for the ordinary citizens. So at the end of the day, no matter the way you look at it, the citizens will be affected because they are going to hit up this polity. Now, the courts have said, let the status quo remain.
Yes.
Now, that's another problem. You know, we have had issues of status quo in this country. Now, the question will be, which status quo? Is it status quo ante, that the status quo at the beginning, or is it status quo that the House should...
Can I answer that? Because I know a bit about.
Yes.
It's the one we had at the beginning. Why
Yes.
they said it should remain is, remember, they were taken to court.
Yes.
And so the matter is already in court.
Yes.
So another party took this matter to court.
Yes.
And so the latest one now is, wait until after the court sitting, then you can continue with your discussion.
Yeah, I said that it's not as if I don't know, but I said that because we have had issues of status quo in this country, where a court said the status quo should remain, and lawyers now began another tussle. Is it status quo ante or status quo as at the time the matter came to court, or what have you? So remember during the PDP issue, that status quo became a problem. So at times when lawyers or when judges make pronouncements, they should be categorical so that it doesn't give this loophole where lawyers will begin to take advantage of technicalities and begin to drag issues out of proportion.
Okay, so you said that this, the sequence could actually affect the minds of Nigerians.
Of course.
Now, how do we fight this? Nigerians, how do we protect our minds from the politicking and the manipulations of these politicians? How do we protect our mind that, yes, I want to vote for this person, I want to vote for that person based on integrity and what I feel? How do I protect my mind?
It's a personal thing. It's not, there's no general rule of how your mind should be protected. It's an individualistic thing. So it depends on individuals now to know that taking 2,000 naira or 1,000 naira in an election day is selling your conscience. Now, until we get to that point when we don't sell our conscience, this country is not going to get better. You see, the problem we have now is that the politicians are going to come up with their shenanigans. And before you know it, people will begin to buy into lies and half-baked truths. And that is what has been happening. And once that happens, you see, let me tell you one thing. I've constantly said this, that the ruling class have systematically impoverished the nation such that they can dangle a little carrot and they will drag them to their side. So it depends on the individual now to make up their mind. Look, I'm not going to sell my conscience. Because a lot of the time, people sell their conscience for a pot of porridge. And at the end of the day, they are the people that are going to suffer the brunt. Because out there, Governor Gonjo was saying the other day that out there they see themselves as one. And that's the truth. That's the fact of the matter. Out there at the National Assembly, there is no Igbo, there is no Yoruba, there is no Hausa. Once they want to share money. But that only comes to play when other trivial issues come up. But once it comes to the issue of our, what do you call it, national cake, who nobody tries to bake, but everybody wants to eat. Now, there's no Hausa, there's no Yoruba, there's no Igbo. They will come together because once they come together, they can share that money peacefully. But once they begin to bring in sentimental issues into it, then the bubble will burst and the people will know and people will start protesting. So they know what they do. They know what they are doing.
Okay, looking at what is happening with the sequence of this election right now, the reps, they are saying they faulted Buhari. He gave 3 reasons, but the last one they said no. Okay, we accepted, you talked about the first and the second one, we were wrong about it, but the last one is the sequence, the way the election should go. And they are saying, no, we are going to resubmit this bill. Is this not going to cause distraction to Nigeria, especially now?
That's what we're saying. I said it earlier, they just want to hit up the polity. Because at the end of the day, I've listened to some legal luminaries in this country, and senior advocates too, that said, well, that the National Assembly has no right to tinker with the timetable.
Yes.
But the National Assembly on their own and with their own lawyers are saying, no, we are not tinkering with the timetable. We didn't say this date or that date. We are only looking at sequence of elections. And they cited a part of the constitution. I've constantly said that constitution, I've said it on this studio and 2 or 3 other studios that I've been to, that your so-called constitution where you say we, the people, I'm not part of that we, because there are a lot of lacunas in that.
But we had opportunity to be part of the we. Don't we have organized...
Which opportunity?
In 2014, there was a national
2014, but
conference.
The government has refused to accept it. It just went there and picked things that favored them. For instance, the TSC was from there. They took TSC because it favors them. Now, the 28% of Northeast is there for, renovation of this thing. They now pick those ones because those ones favor their personal interests. Now, the other issue they picked from there was this BVN. Now, these issues were in 24. Now, if you say that document is not valid, why are you going there to select issues that you know will, improve your own status?
Are you saying they should just make do
that
with
document,
all the over 600 resolution from that conference?
That document,
because we have over 600 resolutions.
Yes, that document should be domiciliarized.
Okay.
That is my belief. I believe that because I've had the opportunity to go through it, and I saw that people who sat down and thought of issues that will make this country forward, except they don't want this country to go forward. If they want this country to go forward, that 2014 document must be brought out, dusted, and taken to National Assembly and perfected as part of our constitution.
Okay, yes, you said, make mention, if the presidential election comes first, then, and whoever wins the election will probably be favored, that party will probably be favored at the rest of the sequence of the rest of the elections. So I wouldn't having that in mind, the opposition party, wouldn't the opposition party be angered enough, motivated enough to do more, to also try and oppose and win the same election in other categories?
My brother, I don't know how old you are. Now, if you've been following sequence of election in this country, you know that with a federal might, it is difficult for you to win any election. Even, in fact, what happened in 2015 was an aberration. And I will tell you succinctly that because the international community was focused on this country, that was why we didn't have a bloodbath in 2015. Because if the international community did not wade into the situation, and maybe the PDP insisted on going to court, there would have been serious problems. And I want to tell you that if they had gone to court, they would have used the federal might to tweak that election to their side. There were reasons in the north, in Kano, for instance. I can quote Kano succinctly because the State Electoral Commission or Commissioner came out to say that the children that INEC is saying voted in 2015 election. We had footages on CNN of children voting in Kano, and the man has come out to say it, so it's in public domain. So I can rely on that to say that if they had hinged their protest on that, and don't forget that that election was won with Kano votes. So if they had hinged their thing on that and went to court, and they had gone to court, well, your guess would have been as good as mine. There would have been bloodbath in this country. So we all know that the federal might, once you use it, it's difficult.
Okay, I'm going to bring you back to what you talked about, the Constitution.
Yeah.
Because this is where this all coming out from.
Exactly.
I remember that the president voted the bill. He has his reason. He talked about the Constitution as well, that the Constitution does not permit the National Assembly, the reps, to alter the sequence of the elections.
Yes.
But looking at our Constitution, you have said you don't believe in that Constitution because you're not part of it. So if you do not believe...
There are a lot of lacunas.
Okay, if there are lacunas in the election, what do we do?
Now, there are a lot of lacunas in that Constitution. And that is why each time... Okay, I'll give you a typical example. Now, we all were here when the issue of Magu came up.
Yes.
I listened to two senior advocates the same day on the same television channel, not this channel. And the first one came on board, and both of them senior advocates, both of them leading councils in this country. Now the first one came up and said, and both of them were using the Constitution. He said, look, as at the time EFCC came on board, the Constitution has already been in place. EFCC came on board 2000-2001 during the Obasanjo regime. So that there was an act of parliament that brought EFCC to be.
Yes. And
that act of parliament stipulates that the EFCC chairman must be taken to the Senate for clearance, approval. Now, he finished, and the second senior advocate came on board. And he said, no. My learned colleague does not understand how this is operates. That any act of parliament that is inconsistent with the Constitution takes precedence. That the Constitution, that's a commission, and the Constitution had already said that no commission head should be sent to Senate, that the president erred by sending him to Senate. The president shouldn't have sent Magu to Senate. And that's why we have Magu there today. Now, I have a question. Now, if federal government is sincere, because I believe they are not, they would have gone to court to test that issue. Why are they testing this one now? You can see the sincerity of government. Because if they were sincere, all of us believe that what they would have done was to go to Supreme Court to test that case. Whether it was right for Magu to be sent to the Senate or not. And somebody was there telling me, and that is an insult to the sensibility of Nigerians, that Magu is the only person out of over 200 million Nigerians The person that went to Senate and they asked him a question and they said if he had known, he would have brought a written reply. That's the person they are telling me is the best person to head EFCC. That's an insult to the sensibility of Nigeria.
You cannot work without the law. You know, we cannot work without the Constitution. When the president gave reason about the local government side, they said the assembly cannot legislate for the local government.
Okay.
And also, if you look at our Constitution in section 76 of the Constitution, also section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution give right to the National Assembly to also give. That's the Provision Act. I'm talking about the section 4 of the Provision Act.
Yes.
Give National Assembly right. Also that they can also read the sequence. I'm talking about the sequence of the election.
That is it. That's why they rely on.
One is giving the federal government the executive right. The other one is giving the National Assembly right. So why do we have this conflicting report from our Constitution? How are we going to manage to drive home the point if it's not balanced?
That's why I said earlier that I don't believe in that paper you call your Constitution. Because there are a lot of lacunas. I've said it.
So what will you be working with? What are we going to work with?
Now, that's
if you
why,
don't believe in the Constitution,
that's
what
why
do we
some
work
of
with?
us are saying, please, dust that 2014. Because some of these issues were trashed. Some of these loopholes in the Constitution that they are capitalizing on were trashed. I wasn't part of that body. Because some people will say maybe because you were a beneficiary. I wasn't part of that body. But I've been opportune to go through some of the things they said, and they looked at these lacunas in the Constitution, and they addressed most of them. So now, if you bring it, there's a fair representation. Yes, I agree that it was not a Constituent Assembly, but was a fair representation other than two people sitting down in somebody's office and drafting a document, and you call it a Constitution. It doesn't happen any other place. It's only in Nigeria that this kind of charade will happen, and you call it a Constitution. No, it doesn't happen any other place. It doesn't.
Okay, coming back to the Magu scenario, we've had a guest here that concluded that it was because of selfish interest. That's why Senate and other bodies were having controversies. Then coming down to this case, it is the duty of the INEC to write out the sequence. And while right now we have...
No, not the sequence, the timetable.
The timetable. And now we have the president not wanting to sign it. We have the House of Assembly. Would you conclude that this is of selfish interest?
Well, I'll answer that by telling you that Socrates said every human being is selfish. The only difference is the degree of selfishness. The degree differs from all individuals. All of us here in this studio, we're all selfish. But our degree of selfishness differs. So it depends on from which angle you are looking at it from. Now, from the angle of the legislators, yes, they are selfish. They want their own election to come first so that they will not be dictated to by the executive. Now, on the part of the federal government, they are equally selfish because they want a bandwagon effect. They want a situation where they will dictate for every other person. So it depends on where you are coming from. There is an element of selfishness. That's the truth.
So for you now, looking at all what is playing out, what do you think is right? I will allow you to answer that question when we come back from this break. What is right? Because if you look at the Constitution, 138 gives the president right to say what he said. And also one section, the subsection 1052 of the Constitution as amended, gives the president right. But also looking at the National Assembly, quoting the Constitution saying, hey, we also have rights to reorder the election sequence. For you, what do you think we need to do now? But let's go on this break. When we come back, we'll continue with Professor Simeon. Now, we'll be right back.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed. Now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Bad breath, also known as halitosis or phthisis, affects an estimated 25% of people globally. There are a number of potential causes of halitosis, but the vast majority come down to oral hygiene. Halitosis can cause significant worry, embarrassment, and anxiety, but generally it is relatively easy to remedy. The most common cause of halitosis is bad oral hygiene. If particles of food are left in the mouth, they break down by bacteria producing sulfur compounds, and there are a number of common causes of bad breath, which include smoking, tooth decay, and alcohol consumption. Bad breath in children is often due to a trapped item in the nasal cavity. Bad breath is a common problem that can cause significant psychological distress. There are a number of potential causes and treatments of halitosis, which is the third most common reason that people seek dental care after tooth decay and gum disease. The specific odor of breath varies depending on the cause of the problem. It is best to ask a close friend or relative to gauge your mouth odor, as it is very difficult to access it yourself. If no one is at hand, one way of checking the odor is to lick your wrist, leave it to dry, and then smell it. If it smells bad, there is a strong chance your breath also smells bad. Some individuals are concerned about their breath even though they may have little or no mouth odor. This condition is called halitophobia and can lead to obsessive mouth cleansing behavior. Major potential causes of bad breath include tobacco products causing their own types of mouth odor, breakdown of food particles stuck in the teeth. Some foods such as onions and garlic can also cause bad breath after they are digested. Their breakdown products are carried in the blood to the lungs where they can affect the breath. Dry mouth is another cause, as saliva naturally cleans the mouth. If the mouth is naturally dry, but due to a specific disease such as xerostomia, odors can build up. Dental hygiene, which requires brushing and
Welcome back. We still have Professor Na in the house. Professor, we're still looking at this election. It's just few months to the time we'll have the general election, and we're having these issues. How do you think this can be better solved?
Now, let me say this. One of the members of the House of Reps yesterday cited Section 76 of the Constitution and Section 4 of the Legislative Privileges Act that gave the National Assembly powers to determine election sequence. Now, I think what most of us do, or most of them, instead of us, most of them there do is take a portion of the Constitution that suits their own interests. And now the other aspect that does not suit their own interests, they keep a blind eye over it and pretend such sections don't exist in the Constitution. That's why I'm worried. Let me tell you what these people are doing to Nigerians, because they don't know. They want to shift the date of that election because this court matter is going to drag on. Now the court has said the National Assembly should stop everything concerning this bill. And the National Assembly have vowed that they are going to expunge.
Case is determined.
Yes. Now the National Assembly have vowed to expunge the areas that they agree with the president. Now, the areas they disagree with the president, they put it back Now we go back to first, second, and third reading, and they approve it again and send it to the president. Now, what some of us don't see in this country is that the president has enormous powers. That if you even sign it into bill by the 2/3 majority of the two assemblies,
yes,
the executive can decide not to implement it. We have seen it happen severally in this country and nothing happens. Because during the Obasanjo regime, Obasanjo will tell you, come and implement it. At the end of the day, the bill will lie there. So I don't see the need for this battle. Except the National Assembly are going to go cap in hands, begging the president to sign that document. I don't see us making any headway here. That's the truth. And after the election, I'll come back to this studio and tell you I told you so.
If the legislative and the judiciary are having this sort of controversies at this point, then what do they expect of the electorate coming 2019?
I don't think the controversy is between the judiciary and the legislature. The controversy is between the executive and the legislature, not the judiciary. The judiciary is a third party that is coming to resolve the issue. It's the executive and the legislature that are fighting. And like I said, I don't see any need for this fight because it's a useless and an endless fight, because even President Muhammadu Buhari is more draconian, so permit my language, than the Obasanjo regime I cited, because he kept quiet over an issue, and what I would say, sinful silence over an issue that is bothering majority of Nigerians, and he will keep quiet over it. And I remember he was asked last month or so, and he said yes, that he takes his time. You see, when everybody's dead, that he will now come up and make, and the governor of Benue State responded that he does not want to rule over dead people.
We disagree with you there, saying he keeps quiet, because the president has always told us that he's working on a lot of things. And so some people will disagree with you, saying he's quiet over issues.
Okay, let me cite an example for you. Now, 2 days ago, or even yesterday, the Secretary of State of the United States visited Africa.
Yes.
Before he left Africa, he has already been sent packing by Donald Trump.
There. Yes, he had issues before then, remember?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, even if he had issues, okay, we have an Inspector General of Police that a presidential order was given for him to go to Benue. And the man did not go. Are you telling me that they don't read newspapers in Aso Rock? They don't watch television in Aso Rock? And Benue people have been crying that this man, and the president said it was only on Monday that he had it. I think he's being economical with the truth. I think he's being economical with the truth. And instead of sending the IGP,
should follow up after sending the IG. Is that what you're saying? Should not be doing the job of the IG?
No. What I'm saying is that there has been a report that this man did not come to Benue. So he couldn't have told us on Monday that he's just hearing. That is being economical with the truth. He's being economical with the truth. And all of us expect that the IG, in other clans, the IG would have resigned. In other clans, the president would have suspended him, at least. But now, instead of just giving a query, what is a query? What is a query? You gave a presidential order. Do you know what it means?
Suspension.
No. It can lead to, but that's the delay tactics we are talking about. That's the delay tactics we are talking about. Now, look at the NHS. That a minister, I don't even know what that minister is doing there. I don't know what the Minister of Health is doing there. You suspended somebody on fraud issues, and the person is reinstated, and you are still there. I don't understand Nigerians. I don't. Because in other class, that minister will resign the next day. I will resign the next minute. Because the minister has been rubbished.
Okay,
and look at it. Sorry, let me finish my thought.
Finish.
Are you aware that the Minister of State now, to rub salt into injury, went to welcome the son of Buhari that had accident and was flown to Germany? Don't forget, they told us he wasn't flown anywhere. That he was written.
Is he not part of the government?
So he doesn't have a job doing. That's why he goes. His duty now is to welcome the son of the president that they told us is being treated here in this country. Meanwhile, he was flown abroad to be treated. And we are told in this administration that people should not travel abroad for treatment. We have seen the governor of Akwa Ibom, the former governor of Akwa Ibom, that said he had one of the best hospitals, and then he had just a minor injury. He was flown abroad. So it's not just, I'm not just talking about a party.
I'll come back to you. Let's get this caller. Hello, good morning to you.
Good morning, Vera.
Okay, welcome back. Continue.
Yes, my suggestion is that whatever you are discussing here is zero. You will not work because the both houses are fighting for their own interest. They are not fighting for Nigerian benefit. So the only solution now is you to rise up. All of you in the studio here are youth. When I talk of youth, I don't talk of under 20, not under 10. So it is to meet in a political party. By now, some of you are supposed to put to the numbers of youth in the street. I think you have to play system. Otherwise, it will continue.
I think you need to be up a bit.
There will never be ending. The end of the colonial matter, this is the youth. The elders were there. And the era have expired. What is happening now? Why are we still complaining? Because complaining will continue, killing will continue, people will continue. Thank you.
Okay, I wanted to ask you a question before you leave.
Okay.
Do you think this reordering of the election sequence, do you think is right? Your thoughts, I just needed your thoughts on it.
What?
The reordering of the election sequence. Do you support the National Assembly or you're supporting the President?
I'm not supporting both of them.
Okay,
Both of them are fighting for their self-interest.
That is true. That's true. And that's what I said here.
My friend from Maryland, always, longest time. Good to have you this morning. Thank you so much. Yes.
Yeah, he spoke my mind. I said it, that both of them are selfish. Both of them are grandstanding on their selfish interests. Because the National Assembly does not want the executive to dictate for them. Because once executive election, the presidential election is done, it begins to dictate what happens. So they don't want that.
So should this cause a distraction to us?
It is a big distraction.
Some of us that want to cast our votes come 2019, they must.
It is a very big distraction. And let me tell you, they are just trying to heat up the polity because they want to cross carpets. So they want a situation where they create confusion. Remember, you see, the only thing is that Nigerians don't read between the lines. There is a provision in the Constitution now that you cannot cross carpet except there's trouble in your party. So what they are trying to do is to generate an implosion from within so that the parties will start having issues. Then they can now begin to move. Don't forget, somebody is tutoring a third force.
Are you
they
saying
don't know how to move to the third force.
Assembly also, they are faulting the absent signature of the president on the peace corps. They are saying, okay, they are going to take it up again. Looking at all of these controversies coming up, what should the citizenry do come 2019? Because all of this is coming up because of 2019, I guess.
Yes.
So what should be the point, should be the job of the citizenry? What should we do right now?
Now, let me tell you what I feel. The presidency withdrew assent on
the Peace Corps, and his reason was how to pay their salaries and what have you. And like I said before, that's not the true situation. Now, I will tell you, because I've been in this country. We've been following the debate. Now, the police has vehemently opposed the idea of a Peace Corps, because that was how NSSDC came on board. And today, they are more relevant than the Nigerian police. So the Nigerian police is afraid. And it's the IGP of police and his cohorts, the cabal, that is pushing the presidency not to sign that bill. Because this is an administration that came on board telling us that they are going to create jobs. And somebody has brought in something that there are Peace Corps in some other countries of the world. They take different names. So why are you refusing assent? Maybe because no monies.
No, the IGP of police and the cabal.
But we must wrap up.
Sorry, the IGP of police is the person behind it.
Your last word on this issue before you leave.
My last word on the issue is Nigerians, please go and get your PVC. 2019 is a critical year, and we must vote in the right people. mark my words, the right people, not people that come with half-baked truths, with propagandas and what have you. You must look at the right person, vote the right person in, so that this country can move forward.
I want to thank Professor Simeon Nna, a consultant and a researcher from a lecturer, Udegbe, North American University, Republic of Benin. Thank you for taking out time to come here today.
Thank you, Master.
It's my pleasure.
Well, we'll go on this break now, and when we come back, we have a legal practitioner that will be telling us what the law says concerning reordering of elections. We'll be right back.
SuperDawn, your daily live current affairs program where topical issues that border on politics, economy, sport, and sizzling national issues are analyzed, now holds every Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Superscreen Television. Let your voice be heard. Join us.
Welcome back. Well, we'll still continue with the controversy over the re-election, that's the reordering of elections in Nigeria. We have a legal practitioner in the studios this morning, Barrister Destiny Takon. Good morning to you.
Thank you, Vera, and good morning, viewers. Good to be here again.
Good to be here. We want to find out from you your thoughts, because you're a legal practitioner, and this, will I say confusion here? We need to be clear about these issues. President has sent the bill, you know, and the National Assembly is saying they are going to resubmit that bill because they have right to submit it. So the right, who has right, who doesn't have right? What is this bill all about anyway?
Of course, on the surface, right on the surface, the bill intends to reorder, you know, the sequence of the elections, 2019 elections, you know, and that's basically the essence of it. That, of course, was after INEC had come up with its own sequence, you know, which the National Assembly, by its oversight functions, you know, decided that it would play, in their thinking, in their wisdom, better for our democracy, for the elections to be reordered. And of course, there's no gainsaying the fact that INEC has powers, you know, to state the dates and sequence of elections. There's no gainsaying also the fact that the National Assembly has powers to make law, or make laws. There's no gainsaying the fact that the President has the right to say, I will not assent to this bill, you know, which has been passed by the National Assembly. So all of this playing out good enough, at least we still have way off before the elections, is good enough for our democracy. What the problem would be is we're evolving, and these would become precedents that would help. The courts right now, of course, we know are court parties in court.
Yes.
Yeah, with the National Assembly and INEC, and so the pronouncement, what the final decision of the court will be on this matter is yet to be known. But as we know, for now, there's a restraining order against the National Assembly till the 20th of March, where that would be reviewed one way or the other, or perhaps maybe the court would decide what. But as I said, as to who is doing right and who is doing wrong, I do not see it from that perspective. I see the political, democratic, and legal process in action. And good enough to say legal process because it's a matter in court now. INEC has powers to, by sections 160, 153, 179, and others, to take charge of elections. But of course, the National Assembly does not have to consult INEC. It is not mandatory. The National Assembly should consult INEC. It's as well as the electoral amendment, the electoral act, the amended one. The National Assembly looked at, the electoral act as it was, and of course, came up with amendments. Some people have said INEC was not consulted, or the public were not given the opportunity to, ventilate, yes, what they are. Well, I know that, yes, for controversial bills, laws that are generating a lot of heat in the course of deliberations on the floor of the National Assembly, it's usually put to public hearing, this committee set up.
But that wasn't done. But I'm going to tell you these
done.
Amendments of the sequence of election in section 25 of the Principal Act. And the president gave the reason saying it's infringed on the constitutional rights issues. This is infringement. Do you think this is really an infringement?
Based on whose powers?
Is that guaranteed the discretion of INEC that the National Assembly is not supposed to handle that? They are not supposed to reorder that election. Do you think he's right about it? Stating the Constitution anyway.
Well, I do not think it's right. I've said that INEC has powers, yes, to conduct elections but if in the for the oversight functions, the National Assembly has oversight functions over even the very executive president himself and other arms of government or rather parastatals and units of government that are either still under the executive or the judiciary or even the National Assembly itself. If by its oversight function, the National Assembly has reason to say, in the best interest of the nation, I'm saying generally, so it's not saying that it's an infringement. I do not agree that it's an infringement or usurpation of the powers of INEC. It is an exercise of the oversight function of the National Assembly, and in their powers, to make laws that they have come up, with that bill which has been passed until assented, of course. What remains to play out would be as to whether the president assents or whether the National Assembly by 2/3 majority vetoes the president.
He gave constitutional issues over the competence of National Assembly.
The president is not what do you call it, a law court, a court of law. He cannot, it's a controversy between arms of government. So he cannot assert his position as the legal or rightful position, especially given that this matter is even before the court of law now. So it is not, he's incompetent to decide, to say what, which of these bodies between INEC and the National Assembly is exactly acting within the bounds of the law.
But coming down to this controversy that's happening right now, what effect does it have on the 2019 election? Does this mean, does this sequence really matter? The presidential election coming first or last? Does it really matter who comes into office?
That question goes for both sides and all sides. We've had in this country, as much as I know, at my station in Live on My Age, various elections are always held in the sequence of the State House of Assemblies and governorship, then the National Assembly and presidential elections. So, and I think that one could even say, well, this is what we have always done, and it has worked well. At whatever point who changed it and decided it should be otherwise, we do not know. Maybe saying, well, for consistency, for reference, for precedent, this is what it has always been, and this is the way it should be. It should be from bottom up, Let's have the elections that way. And I would simply say, of course, the elections is hold in 2 days. That's my prescription. Yes, instead of 3 days.
Why do you say so?
Yeah, like it has always been. The State House of Assembly elections and what do you call it, and global elections, and then the National Assembly and presidential elections on another day. It's that simple as that.
The guest that just left,
that should be the middle cost. That should take care of.
Professor Simons said that this was a systematic way of trying to extend the date of the election, because courts, you keep going to court, our court parties in court over this issue. You keep going to court back and forth. Before we know it, they will now extend the election date. Do you think, are you saying it that way?
Well,
that what is playing out right now?
What was filed was an originating application, and it is essentially used to dispense with matters of urgency or matters that it's not by its very nature, a mode of commencement of action that lasts for that long. And I believe strongly that the questions raised are such that should be answered long before the elections. Of course, that would not in any way affect parties producing their candidates. It has no bearing on that. It's only on as to the sequence of the elections. And so I think that fear, though not entirely unfounded, is not very substantial.
So considering the sequence of the election, the guest which we have, Professor, he said that if the presidential election comes first, if that's how it happens, whoever wins this election will take advantage of it and will probably prey on the rest of the office that goes down. Do you think that's really what's going to happen?
Well, as I said, yes. I think, talking very dispassionately as a Nigerian, yes, I said the order of elections has been what the National Assembly is trying to reorder, except for, I'm saying the middle course there should be 2 elections, half state elections. Let me put the state as in State Assembly and governorship on one day, and then national federal elections on another day. What's happening is a situation where one occasion, I think the thought I took me a bit out of the question you asked.
Say that again, sir.
No, what you had asked, my train of thought derailed me a bit because I was trying to link up to answer. Yes.
If the presidential election comes first.
Yes. Exactly.
Yes,
I get. I'm on the same page with you now.
Okay.
So yes, that happened in the 2015 elections. Indeed, talking dispassionately as a Nigerian, you had a situation where, we're a country where there's so much dependence on the center, so much dependence on government, on what happens in Abuja. It affects all of the states, except for some very few states that are almost wholly independent financially, like Lagos. So as soon as it turned out that the federal presidential elections came up first, against what, like I said, because of the mentality of Nigerians, if there's APC at the center, why would my state be in opposition? And so it was a landslide, not necessarily, and I say that with all conviction, not necessarily because a lot of people or states would have wanted to go the way of APC. That is what happened in 2015. That's why I say talking very dispassionately. And it may not be the best for our democracy, for real. It may not be the best for our democracy. We want to allow Nigerians the opportunity to decide, to say, okay, if whatever tussle, whatever lobbying, whatever campaigns that can be done, do them at the various states, even as they are. Even as we are now, we have APC having majority of the states. So they can maintain it if they really have the acceptance, isn't it? So let elections go the way, the traditional way, or what we used to, given the examples we had in the past.
Okay, because
State House of Assembly and go by elections. If you are very popular, if a party is popular in that state, it will still win it, And that would influence what happens at the center at the end of the day. That would bottom up, like I say. So I think very dispassionately and truly as a Nigerian, we should have the presidential elections or national assembly elections.
Is this not going to cause crisis between the presidency and the legislative arm of government, the way things are going right now? Back and forth. Or is it good for democracy? Is this good for democracy?
Don't pick my brains. Yes. Crises are not a problem in democracy. All right, it's okay. They're welcome. All we want is healthy crisis, constitutional issues, legal issues that will be determined. And of course, as I say, we will have precedents. We had the problem, the debacle with when President Yarodua traveled without writing the National Assembly. We got around it with employing the theory of necessity. And we got around it. So we're growing. So let there be issues between the National Assembly and the presidency. It's okay. So long as they're not taking up arms or, against each other, let it be legal fireworks, as it were. And worst case, the courts will be approached.
So what should be our responsibility? This is Zuri. What should be our responsibility come 2019?
Starting from now, every Nigerian, no more apathy. Now, I'm into politics. I'm a politician. I've contested elections, and I look forward to even contesting elections in 2019. But what occasions and enables rigging is voters' apathy. When voters don't come out, registered voters don't come out to vote, you allow parties the opportunity to, if, for instance, in a polling unit, there are 1,000 votes, and only 100 registered voters come out, you have 900 votes that are undecided in the sense that you didn't come out. But our experience as a country is that those votes will not waste. People would make sure that they represent you while you're sleeping in your house and thumbprint for the party of their choice. It is almost impossible where voters turn out and indeed cast their vote. If there are 1,000 votes and 900 voters come out, or even 800 come out and vote, it makes it very difficult for any party to rig. If you were to take a candidate or whoever emerged or a party to the tribunal, these things are always reproduced. And when you go through, you discover that you cannot change what I had printed. You could fill whatever on the result sheet, but the ballot papers always is what is used to determine who actually.
So we must all come out to vote come 2019.
Go and get your PVC. Get your PVC. Yes. Yeah, I was explaining why, so that you don't sit back and say it's politics, I'm not interested. You are responsible for bad governance. Those who say I'm not going to vote, whatever happens, somebody's going to win. That's why we have bad governance. That's why things are the way they are, and it affects you. It affects the gari you eat. It affects the school fees you pay, the rent, and everything. So take your destiny in your hands, get your PVC, and go and vote. As I've said, the essence is when we all turn out and vote, they cannot rig. And when they come up with false results, it will always be overturned at the tribunals.
We must leave now. And I hope, Anthony, have you got your PVC? Because I said this year, I'm prepared for 2019.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
I'm going to cast my vote.
Thank you.
Even though I'll be on duty roving with the cameras. But I will do that close to my residence area.
Exactly. So you
I must cast my vote. It's expedient. I want to thank Barrister Destiny Tako for coming.
My pleasure as always.
Thank you.
Very much.
Pleasure. Thank you.
Well, viewers, we'll go on a break now. And when we come back, we will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back. Well, Anthony,
Wow.
you heard what the guest said. Both
Yeah,
of them.
sure.
I think, for me, I don't know, is a must. Whoever comes first, I'm going to cast my vote.
That is it.
I'm
Just
not
it.
bothered about the sequence.
The sequence itself.
I'm not bothered
It's not
about who comes last or who is starting first.
I
What
feel-
I'm determined to do is to cast that vote. It's
Yes.
my right.
I feel if you know who you want to vote and you're very confident about who you want to vote, it's the sequence of the election shouldn't really bother or affect your vote, whether the center owns, whether a party owns the center or the rest of them. I just feel, just go out there and make your votes count. Your vote does count.
We must
That's
wrap
it.
up now. I don't know if Anthony watched yesterday's match. I watched the replay and I wasn't happy about
didn't
it,
watch it.
because I'm supposed to be on blue today and I'm
Okay.
not on blue
Because you were not happy about it.
Messi into the match 3 minutes into scored, and I said this guy has started again.
The almighty
But
Messi.
if you had read that match, Anthony doesn't like football. I do, but you begin to like it, isn't it?
Yeah, true.
Because of
I'm
me.
rolling with you.
I like football, but if you look into the match, if you read the match, you will see that Chelsea was a better team. Was a better team yesterday.
Yesterday.
Not because they didn't win, yeah, but they were a better team. They played better. But there
they
were
win.
loads of mistakes from Chelsea's side. Loads of mistakes. And I do not, I said it earlier when I started
you're being
this program.
sentimental there. I mean, if you feel, I kind of see some little contradiction. They are a better team.
Better team,
but
not because they didn't win.
You okay?
Better team in the game yesterday.
In the game yesterday.
Yes, they were better team. It's just
But
that
they made lots of mistakes.
loads of mistakes, I must say. And our coach, I do not understand why he keeps opening his legs for people to. You know, Messi is a guru when it comes to scoring. And
Yes,
they've known this
wizard,
guy
a
that
wizard.
you're always opening for them to pass. Very tighter angle. You see the goal, the ball just move into the net.
I guess that's the flaw.
I was not happy yesterday because today I thought I'm going to pop in champagne with Anthony, but that won't happen.
But I feel if you're very very crazy about your team, about your club, you should still come out and say, okay, yes, I support them.
I
Though
better
they lost,
with
but
my MFM and Lobby Stars, the local team. This international brand is making me angry. Let me concentrate on the local team. I love MFM and I love Lobby Stars. Don't ask me why. But both of them, I saw MFM from the scratch has grown higher now. And Lobby Stars, I just love it. So don't ask me why, but those are my teams. And I'm praying and hoping that our coach, the Chelsea coach, will look into what is happening. And I missed Drogba. If you tell me I didn't miss Mikel, you are wrong. We need a mature people in there. These guys are amateur. That doesn't mean they're not professionals, but we need a stronger force to drive in the arithmetics of the goals. Well, this is where we end the program for today. From Anthony.
From Anthony, I like to put a word out there to say, please try and do your background check and understand who you want to vote in for power. At the same time, make sure you go out there and vote because it affects all of us. It affects you. It affects 2019. That's it. My name is Anthony Usaibovo.
And from me, I want to say thank you for being part of this program. And thank you to the crew. Thank all of you for watching and the callers and those that couldn't get through. Tomorrow it's a weekend. We'll make it a bit lighter for you so you can enjoy your weekend. Trust Super Screen Television. We are best at making people's weekend the best, even during the week. Well, I'll see you tomorrow. I want to congratulate all Chelsea fans. It's not over until it's over. We're
not winning.
We're going to win. We're going to win.
Winning.
Not to worry, we're out of that competition. But we will win. I am Vera Osokwa. I'll see you tomorrow. Keep watching Super Screen Television.